Hello, everybody. I love your beautiful land. I've never lived somewhere so beautiful in all of America. I lived in Tennessee and Los Angeles and Portland.
Excuse me, would you please state your name?
Oh, my name is Mary Eng. In terms of what I want to talk about, I think the large issues are child abuse, domestic violence related. And in terms of coming to experience a lot of the stories, like one of my friends has had her thumb broken recently by a man who is walking around Long Beach. He's not being detained. She's I think battered women's syndrome in a domestic violence shelter, especially also domestic violence programs that are open and non-exclusive towards anybody of any gender or orientation would be very helpful and beneficial to kind of open up a conversation about what's happening in people's lives. And I spoke to you, I think it was in January, about the yellow building on 306th where a woman was being beaten downstairs by Jonathan Riley. I came to find out, but once I got back to Portland, that Ted Berardinelli, a meth felon from Portland who had gun silencers, was living at the yellow building and was actually my next door neighbor. His wife, Anna, had opened up to me and often had bruises on her arms. I would ask, where are these bruises coming from? And she would kind of freeze up and not want to talk to me, and I didn't want to be too invasive. But we ended up making several anonymous 911 calls. One time we ran to the fire station. Ben heard the screaming downstairs and he was really worried, but the most, all night long usually, the Berardinellis would be screaming, throwing things, shouting, cursing. We didn't sleep for about 3 months, and as people who are both on Social Security disability, we do need a certain level of peacefulness and healthfulness in the atmosphere. But the night that Berardinelli was screaming on the side of the bedroom, down below in Jonathan Riley's apartment, the woman was screaming like worse than ever before, and she ended up coming out of the apartment and saying, I effing hate you, you effing woman-beating piece of blank. And she peeled out of the lot. Her car has, I don't call 911 on it. And she peeled out of the lot, almost hit the car that my mom lets me drive. And at that point, our nerves were really fried at the level of abuse. We've been offered all kinds of drugs. One night, Angela, who sells her prescription narcotics, was waving a knife in the hallway at us. Anna had threatened retaliation. John Osborne, who lives down there on, I think it's 3, down at the end of the hallway with Julie Nieberg, he was trying to pull out a huge bag of meth in front of Ben. And Ben is blind in one eye, he has a brain injury, and he needs a very special healthcare regimen. And to have a meth dealer trying to co-opt him to be a bodyguard on a meth deal really made that uncomfortable. And he heard them talking down in the storage unit about things about disposing of a body, like a missing Lexus. I don't know where to piece all the crime details and all the things that we got to know, but we were very scared. And we went down to Portland really quite afraid of some of the threats. I hope they're idle threats, and I hope nothing would come back to us. So we get a place in Safe Haven. I think, oh, it can't be that bad. Nobody's going to want to live there because Marvin just is dead. But I just recently got my knuckles crushed by Robin Eaton, the apartment manager of Safe Haven. And it's because I had the fire chief come inspect when I started to realize the violations. There's a pool of sort of sewage and toxic murky liquid underneath the structure that's causing a sewage smell. Number 4 has complained of the sewage smell. He was being verbally abused by Robin the day that I attempted to intervene with he's disabled as well, but I attempted to intervene with his disability rights advocate, Marilyn Yon, and provide for him a business card for Eradipest and Truxton Meadows air quality control inspection. And Robin then grabbed my fingers and crushed them and twisted them clockwise. And I've been into the ER. It looks just like a sprain, and I had x-rays yesterday. So in some ways I feel fortunate, but I wasn't expecting an assault from a woman or an apartment manager. I've had a lot of trouble communicating with Susan Odell. I've tried to get her phone number. Nobody will give it to me. I get threatened with eviction since my 7th day of tenancy. So I have not felt much housing stability, and I was hoping I could work with the housing problems and clean up the cat hair and get it really spick and span. But at this point, the building is extremely decrepit. We have the key to Unit 2. You're welcome to come and take a tour with us if you want, or I don't know what to do, but we have a small claims pending if anybody will answer the sheriff's call of service. And I just want a healthier place for us to live, but thank you for being here, and thank you for your leadership, and thank you to Chief Wright and for all of everything you went through. I don't think it was right the day that that tragedy happened. My dad was being buried, and it personally affected me, and I wanted to see what's going on. We've heard there's meth and heroin flowing through the office. We're not sure. Dibble High appears to be doing a lot of the meth runs. Corey Johnson, who's supposedly on heroin, the one who attacked Ben, is constantly going in and out of Safe Haven. And the people who need help, we're trying to do what we can. Like, we just gave our laundry detergent to Unit 6. She's constantly being screamed at by the management. The management's also screaming at 4. And whether or not his threats of fertilizer bombs and arson events are legitimate threats or a mental illness problem, I don't know. But I just know he doesn't need to be screamed at or threatened with eviction. It's making people a nervous wreck around there. And the Loretta who screams all day beside us has basically meant that we don't get any sleep for about 4 or 5 weeks with all the stress of her screaming, blood-curdling screams all night long. And nobody told us there would be that level of noise pollution. But thanks also to Matt Bonney, because he's been really helpful in pointing out some of the Washington state housing law, and I'm reading that as much as I can, and hope we can find a safe place to live. And thanks to everyone else who's helped us out, numerous people like the St. Vincent de Paul and Crisis Support. Thank you.
Thank you. Barry? Any other public comment? Hearing none, the meeting is closed.
Can you go on my dad? Should I?
Turn this off. I don't.